Good morning, students, and welcome to another online life science classroom of St. Michael's Academy. Today, I am going to continue organs and systems in animals. That means the second chapter from your book. So, let's start. Before starting today's class, I just want to give you an idea. That is, what is the difference between frog and toad? Because in your book, you have seen that they have used toad, anatomy of toad, digestive system of toad. Every time they have used toad, not frog. So what are the differences between them? Frogs have long legs, longer than their head and body. Please see the diagram on left hand side. The long back leg of frogs has been shown over here. These legs are made for hopping. So frogs used to hop. On the other hand, toads have much shorter legs and prefer to crawl around rather than hop. See the legs, or else you can say that back legs of toad. It's shorter than frog. That means frog generally used to hop and toad generally used to crawl. Now the second point. Second point is frogs have smooth, somewhat slimy skin. On the other hand, toads have dry, warty skin. You can see this also in the diagram. Frog has the green colored, slimy, silky skin, but toad has brown colored, dry, warty skin. So these two are the basic differences of frog and toad. One more differences I can say, but as point you cannot write this. That is, scientific name of toad is Bufo melanus tictus, but scientific name of frog is Rana tigrina. That means their genus also differs and their species also different. Hope so you have understood what is the difference between frog and toad. So here we are going to discuss about toad, not frog. So please don't do this type of mistake by writing frog over here. Buphomelanus tictus is a familiar example of toad. It is found in damp places all over this country. So always toad used to find in damp places. Toad represents a typical example of class Amphibia. Despite the fact that toad is a highly specialized form amongst the living amphibians, it is studied extensively to gain an elementary knowledge on the anatomy of vertebrates in general and an amphibian in particular. That means here not only we'll discuss about the amphibian characteristics of toads, but also we will tell you in this chapter about the various anatomy, that means various systems, that means various anatomical structure. That means after dissection you will get this type of structure, that's why anatomy. So various about the various system like digestive system, reproductive system, nervous system, excretory system, circulatory system and respiratory system of toads and as well as an amphibians. Now my question is, what is amphibia? Any amphibia is any of a group of cold-blooded vertebrate animals as frogs and toads that have gills and live in water as larvae but breathe air as adults. That means this type of animals have two phases in their life cycle. One is larval stage or larval stage. That time they used to respire by gills, and another stage is adult stage. After metamorphosis, it's a process by which a toad uh, from larval stage to adult stage it comes. So conversion process, metamorphosis. So happens. This type of thing happens. But in that adult stage, amphibia breathe air by lungs. That means formation of lungs occurs within their body. So actually there will be two types of respiration in case of amphibian. Now my next question is, what is cold-blooded animals? A terminology that I have used here. Cold-blooded animals do not maintain a constant body temperature. They get their heat from the outside environment. So their body temperature fluctuates. That means it may increase sometimes or it may decrease also sometimes based on external temperatures. Maybe you have remembered nowadays when I was checking your temperature, that time I have used this word, your temperature, not the other students' temperature. So that time I used this word, that is cold-blooded. That means if their temperature is very low, actually I was telling them that you are a cold-blooded person. So it was just an example. I hope so you have understood what is the actual meaning of cold-blooded animals. Now, frog and toad both are cold-blooded animals, and obviously they both are amphibians. So there are some example of amphibians. You can see the first picture: frog, salamander, toad, newt, and Sicilian. These are the various types of amphibians. Now, my question is, why toad is called amphibia? See the life cycle of toad in the second diagram. First, see, eggs are forming. Then, within the eggs, embryos are forming. Like in plant cell, you have seen the embryos in maize. Similarly, in case of animal also, within the egg, embryos are forming. Then from embryo, tadpole is coming out. Tadpole is the larval stage of toad. Tadpole. You can see already it has been written Tadpoles. Tadpoles. Tadpoles can attach with the branch of any tree with sucker. See, they are attaching themselves by an organ that is called sucker. Sucker. Rather than that, tadpole has gills because they used to respire through gills. You can see first gills are outside. It has been shown in the diagram. After that, a skin grows over gills. After that, hind legs of toad is coming out. Next step is tail becomes shorter. As we know that toad doesn't have tail. And the last adult stage of toad after metamorphosis is coming, that generally we used to see toad like this. So you can see from egg till the formation of adult, this process is called metamorphosis. Or else you can say not from egg, you can say from larva to toad. This process is called metamorphosis. Now we are going to discuss about systematic position. Systematic position of toad. Now first question is, what is systematic position? Systematic position or taxonomic position, actually we have to arrange all the animals in some specified groups. I have given you one example already in class. Again, I am repeating over here. There are lots of students in your school. Age-wise, we have classified them into different class. Suppose 7, 8, 9, like this. Now, if there will be section under this class, maybe on the basis of marks, till 80 to 90% those who have got, we have classified them in one section, and less than that marks, the students, those who have got, we have classified them in different section. So there will be two section under one class. Hope so you have understood. Based on this theory only, taxonomic or systematic position of animals has been done by scientists. So what is the systematic position of toad? Phylum Chordata, subphylum Vertebrata, superclass Gnathostomata. G is silence over here, please remember. Class Amphibia, subclass Lis Amphibia, superorder Salientia, order Anura, family Buffonidae. At last, scientific name Buffomelanus. So Melanus portion of this scientific name is coming from the family Buffonidae word. And at the last but not the least, English name of toad. This is common Indian toad. But one thing you should remember, that English name is not at all included within taxonomic classification. That's why I have not written it as inverted pyramid. I have written it normally. You can see this. Now see the diagram, you will understand that there is a pyramid. No, it's not inverted. Why not? Because you see the index. In opposite direction it has been written. First species, then genus, then family, then order, then class, then phylum, then kingdom. Like this. But if we start from phylum till scientific name, then it will be an inverted prism. That means phylum we have written, but subphylum we have written slightly right hand side. Why? Because the animals, number of animals under subphylum is less than phylum. Like class and section example. Again, when superclass we are writing it slightly right hand side. So again, number of animals under this superclass is decreasing. So like this it will go, and finally it will come to scientific name, scientific name of that particular animal. Here toad. So here you can draw one pyramid like this, or else when you will write systematic position, you have to write like this. In your book, it has been given straight. It's okay in your book, just information given. Here I have written like this so that I can teach you properly with proper reason. Now students, if you have any type of doubts or queries, you can mail me at sudeshna1.sma@outlook.com. We also welcome your responses on the videos and PPTs by the way of mailing, you can say, at feedback.stmichaelsacademy@gmail.com. So thank you students, hope you have understood. Or else if you have any type of doubts or queries, you can ask me in my live Zoom classes also next week, or coming week rather. So have a nice day.